Hey everybody, we're going to do some coasters today. Some white, just hopefully ethereal, pretty petaled looking ones. And I'm using Counterculture Artist Resin, medium viscosity, the green yellow label. B first always, and then A into B. The B is thinner and easier to mix, and I'm going to do I think about 14 ounces. These hold 3 to 3.5, and so if I have a little extra, that's fine. I don't want to have the coasters not be full enough. So the thick A goes into the thin B, B, and then A into B. 6 minutes on my timer, hitting start. I'm just going to show you how I mix resin. I just go slowly. You don't have to do it fast. It's going to be cloudy at first. It will clear up. You can go back and forth around the corners, scraping those sides. You can do crazy eights. Just consistent stirring. Occasionally you can take your stick out and wipe it off on the sides, but not too much in and out, but just consistency like this. And just while I'm mixing, and then I'll cut the camera to the end of 6 minutes. You want to have proper ventilation, at least a window open. I've got a fan going. I'm in a bonus room, but I keep my window slightly open in all months of the year. A fan, I've got a safety glasses, or if you wear glasses, I have a half mask and a full face mask, and I highly recommend it. Even if the resin is no VOCs, low VOCs, it's still a chemical reaction, and there's micro bubbles that float up in the air. So just be careful. And you're going to use a heat torch or a heat gun, and that's also going to release some fumes and chemicals. So you just want to play it safe. I use baby wipes, 91% alcohol, that you'll see in my little squirt bottle here. And for cleanup, baby wipes and alcohol, 91% alcohol, are the bomb. I'll be back. Okay, it's been 6 minutes. Now we're going to switch to the stopwatch and hit start. And we're going to just let this sit. And I'm going to let it heat. And when it's in a deep container, it will kind of have more of a chemical reaction a little bit quicker than if you pour it into the coasters and just kind of let it kind of lay out and be shallow. It takes longer for that reaction. So I'm just going to let it sit to the side, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use today. I was going to do gold, but I'm going to make it pinkish since it's close to Valentine's. I'm going to use Rose Gold Sparkles by Laura's Art Corner. They'll go in the center. And then I'm going to do white petals. And then if I do a background, I'm going to go with maybe Carnation, which is a golden, rose gold kind of color. I might add a little pink to make it a little stronger, but that's a mica by Counterculture DIY as well. I'm going to use Res Angel White pigment paste. I have not used this in quite a while, and if you open it up, for some reason it's not creamy, and it still is, but if it's hard, you can hit it with your low temp heat gun and soften it, and it'll work just fine. So just want to show you that little tip. I'll be back, and we'll check on the temperature later. Okay, I've got a temperature probe in here, and it went up to 102 degrees. And there's different spots in the container that show different temperatures. So you kind of have to move it around, and it's digital. It's got a little light that lights up behind it, and it just kind of gives you an idea of the warmth. And you can also feel the warmth. It's 26 minutes right now, so you can tell that it's starting to get to its kind of perfectness. I'm going to take my 3-ounce cup and put maybe about 2 ounces in it. Put that aside, and then I'm going to pour And I'm not going to fill them all the way up because you want to evenly disperse your resin. If you don't have enough to fill them all up, then you just do it, one by one, and make sure you get them at, all around the same level. So I didn't mix enough actually to fill these up, so these probably take closer to 4 ounces. I love these mixing containers, even though they're a little bit hard to clean out if you let the resin set up. Now, if you get it pretty cleaned out with your stick and everything, then you can go in and wipe it down a couple of times with paper towels and then use alcohol, and it will clean up to just like brand new again. So if you get it before the resin starts to cure, you can do it that way and just keep reusing over and over and over again. So we're at 28 minutes right now. Just a little quick little thing with the torch. Be careful about the edges, because if you get it too hot around the edges with your flame or whatever, it'll make your mold stick to your resin. I do have some little air bubbles. You can kind of, these are those coasters I don't use very often just because there's lots of little grooves, little places where the bubbles can get in too. But I decided I'd pull these out today because I do like the shape of them. But they are more prone to little bubbles in those little crevices. It has the least amount of stuff that can heat, as far as that can potentially mess up your coaster mold. Okay, so I'm going to take these rose gold sparkles and just a little bit in the middle. Then you can use your skewer just to kind of corral them into the middle. Make sure they kind of land. And stay kind of in the middle. So for here is the white, and I'm going to take what's on the stick and wipe it off mostly. Just what's left really on the tip of the stick is what I'm going to put in. I'm going to put a couple of drops of white alcohol ink by Pinata. I put 4. I always like to just use a little bit of alcohol ink. And then I am going to put a little bit of shimmer. I'm going to use White Crystal by Etsy Funshine Color Shop. Just a little, kind of about ½ a spoon, and this little spoon is about the size of my pointer finger. It's a small one from Counterculture. I like it because I can really kind of control the amount of glass bits or micas or whatever that I want to put on the end of the stick or the spoon. And it is metal. Okay, and it's warming up. It feels a lot warmer than the warmth of this, so that means it's about ready to use. It's 32 minutes. Wipe your stick off a couple of times just to make sure that pigment that was on your stick really gets into the resin. You want it semi-opaque. And then transfer it into a cup with a piping bag in it. I use a bigger 5-ounce cup and just put a piping bag in and pull the edges down over the sides of the cup. Take it out of the cup. Shake it down, push it down, get it nice and tight, and you're going to twist that bag, and you're going to hold that bag in your palm of your hand so that it doesn't drag into your resin. I'm just going to spritz it with alcohol. That releases any surface bubbles. You can do that anytime you want to when you're working with resin. Okay, so we're going to cut the tip off. And you can go smaller, and then if you need to make it bigger, you can. And then I'm just going to start making little petals. And then just staggering it. And you can reshift it if you need to get it more to the end of the bag. I do want to take my stick, and anywhere that feels a little bit blobby, kind of get that pulled in, just so hopefully it doesn't drop down. The little places where your humps end in the middle, that's the chance where you're going to have some blobs. So I'm just kind of stretching those out a bit. I'm going to go around one more time on the outskirts of it. I'm trying not to go too heavy on the outskirts. I just want it to go as far to the edge as I can. And I'm just going to connect any lines that maybe didn't connect, and again work on any little blobs that I might see. And I'm not going down to where the crystals are. I'm just very lightly on the surface, swirling right near it, above it. And then I'm going to take my regular heat tool, heat gun, put it on low, and just put a little heat to it. Okay, I do see one area where there's a little bit of a gap. I'll put one more little petal right in here. So we're at 43 minutes right now, and that's really pretty much the max working time for the medium viscosity resin anyway. So we're kind of right on target for that. So we're basically just going to wait 4 or 5 hours and see what it looks like, and if it's so pretty on one side but not on the other, you know, we may or may not put a background. It just depends. Sometimes this side will look really pretty and wispy, and then the other side might have some blobs. And then I was going to put a pink background, and you know, the other side would be the top. But it really kind of depends on how these change in the next 4 or 5 hours. So I'm going to spray one more time with alcohol. I'll be back in about 4 to 5 hours. Okay, I've peeked on the other side, and they don't look blobby, so I'm really happy. And we're going to put some color on the background. Even though this is beautiful, it's very delicate petals, I think the other side is going to be really, really pretty. And you'll get to see the stones in the middle, the little glass bits. So I'm going to mix up a color kind of close to the glass bits color. I'm going to use Carnation Mica from Counterculture DIY. I'm doing this off camera because mica floats around in the air. I don't want it landing in the coasters. So I've got a spoonful here, and I'm gonna mix that in first. And it's got a golden, rose gold feel to it. It's almost like a color shift. Rose gold and gold. It's very pretty, but I think I want to pink it up just a little bit more. And that's still kind of transparent, but the stones are a little bit pinker. And I have this little piggy Twilight, which you can see is very kind of raspberry feeling. So I'm just going to put a tiny little bit in and see what happens. And if I want to add more, I can. It's better to go less than more, because once you go full on, you can't kind of go backwards. I think I want just a little bit more. I don't think I'm going to put any more of that in, but we'll see what this looks like. It really has that color shift with the gold going on for sure. Okay, I'm going to do a couple drops of magenta and see what happens with the alcohol ink, and that's Resin. That definitely made it a little bit more raspberry pink feeling. I think I like that better. It's deeper than this, which is fine. I do have some rose gold alcohol ink as well. It's kind of a lighter. Let me just see what that does, if anything. I end up usually mixing up a lot of my colors because I see something in my mind's eye that I want, and you don't have that actual color, so you just make it. And I always say, don't fill up one coaster and then go to the next. Kind of put a little in each one so that you can make sure that they are even as far as everybody gets about the same amount. I could have mixed more resin, but I basically just need a bottom layer of color. This again was about 5 ounces. So they are not filled up all the way, but that's okay. Gonna wipe this stick off, let it cure. You can definitely wipe these out and spray alcohol in them, or just let the resin cure, and you can still use them again even if you have the other resin in it. It's not going to stop you. And then I can just shift it a bit. My stick and kind of push it into the little crevices. It'll go there, but I'm just helping it along. Sometimes it's hard to get those petals to not blob, and so I'm really pleased. And I think I can attribute it to that Resin. It takes very little white on the tip of your stick, and then timing on the temperature and the warmth, so that your resin has time to kind of get into its little perfect place of where it really blooms out in a really pretty, delicate kind of way. Spritz that with alcohol, cover it up, and I'll be back. Okay, let's see what these beauties look like. Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, that is so pretty. Perfect. I couldn't be happier. Those are perfect. So that coat was only about 5 hours ago. I'm going to put it on some clear plastic that doesn't have anything on it. Let it sit overnight, and then I'll top coat them. Oh yes, I love them. Perfect. All right, be back.